Boom, chugga, boom, 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 boom. Small collection of boxes. It means we've done another audio install on a BMW G21. This is a 330e. I'm Nathan from Cambridge Auto Sound, and this is probably getting a bit familiar because, yeah, it's another BMW estate car. What's this car had? So the last video you probably saw was the G, incorrectly named, I called it a G21, but the M3 version, I think G81, probably got that wrong again. That had the System 3, which has the Helix V8 Ultimate in it, an 8-channel amplifier, and then we run new speaker wires into the doors so we can power the mids and the tweeters separately. This has had a level down from that. This is the System 2, so it is a up 6 DSP amplifier, which is this little box, quite a small little amplifier, about yay big. It's got 4 channels at about 65 watts. That runs the doors, front and rear, and we're using a passive crossover in between the mid-range and the tweeter in the front, and in the rear it's actually just got a coax. The other 2 channels that the amplifier puts out are slightly higher power. They're up to 160 watts, and they're driving these Audison 2 ohm underseat 8-inch drivers. So just a quick recap, this was a base audio car, so it had no tweeters and only 6-inch underseat speakers. So we've upgraded those to 8-inch underseat speakers, and then obviously added tweeters in BMW correct trims with the little black tweeter grills, which I'll show you in a minute. You can specify either the black tweeter grills or the silver tweeter grills that say Harman Kardon. This customer wanted the black ones. We have also then used the Morel performance speakers. So I've got some footage of I've got some pictures of those in the car. So I'll overlay those. In the front, yeah, it's a component set, so a 4-inch and a separate tweeter. In the back, it's a coax set, so a 4-inch with a little tweeter built inside it. Running the, well, not running the system, but controlling the system, you've got the new Conductor Pro in this car. They've, for some reason, come out with a Conductor and a Conductor Pro. Well, I say come out, the Conductor's been out for quite a while, love it. Brilliant little multifunctional dial. The Conductor Pro, I can't really see much difference. It feels a bit stronger on the detent when you're turning it around. Looks a little bit different. More of a pain to install because you've got a collar that kind of screws up on the back of it to secure it rather than just a push fit in. Jury's out. Functionality wise, it's absolutely no different. They say it's more pro in its materials. It's got a bit of a soft touch, rubbery feel to the dial. But yeah, very similar. I think there's maybe 20, 30 pounds in retail cost in between them. I'm certainly not going to be rushing out and swapping the ones in my car or previous customers' cars that have got the old one. I'm not going to suggest they upgrade to this one, but maybe I'll use that going forwards, I'm not sure. There's also another little matchbox here, the Up One FX. So when we initially spec'd this car, the customer was just going to go for the cabin speakers, which is great. That sounds really good. But then after we'd booked it in, he got in touch and was like, oh, what can we do in terms of subwoofer options? So we've got the Up One FX, which is a mono amplifier, also in the system. So the Up 6 feeds that, a DSP controlled signal. And then that feeds a Hertz, which I haven't got the box here, a Hertz MPS 250 10-inch subwoofer, which is exactly the same as the subwoofer that we put into the M3. And we've built our own box for it, which I'll show you in a minute. The only other things that aren't here would be the Audio-Tech Fisher Loom. So we've taken an analog signal out of the RAM amplifier in this one and put that into the Up 6 amplifier on the M3 that had a digital integration, which wasn't the most simple to set up. And I apologise to the customer. He had a couple of teething issues, which he resolved the day afterwards. But just to do with the levels of the radio and the parking sensors, they weren't quite set correctly. But yeah, this is much more simple to set up, if not lacking that outright 100% quality. This has got an analog integration with that loom that obviously is in the car, and it just comes in a bag. So that's it. Let me show you the car. It sounds fantastic, by the way. Just been sitting tuning it. It's got 3 different tunes on, one for a driver, one for both front passengers where the time alignment's a bit more equal, and then one where there's no subwoofer in the mix so that we're pushing the underseats a little bit harder. But overall, the system's obviously got less bass. I think he said his mum is often in the car in the back, and she probably won't appreciate the subwoofer. Nice, simple job. I mean, none of these are simple. We do them all to the same standard in terms of the installation, but it's nice having a job that's in and out, and it's still daylight when I'm going home for a change, so that's always good. So in the boot, we have got a slightly higher floor in the 330e. So I couldn't go for the same pre-produced sub box that we used in the G81 because that's slightly deeper. So we made this ourselves. It's a fiberglass construction at the back with then a wooden front. So it fits, I'll show a camera angle looking down the side of this. It fits nice and flush with this trim panel here. The floor, the customer wanted to have access to the underfloor to store his cables, and even though we've made this subwoofer in line with where the cut in the floor was, because of the way the grille sticks out, you can't actually lift it up to get any access. So what we did in this one is we modified the two plastic hinges that normally really scoop up under, so you couldn't be able to then do this, which is pull it forwards and then get access to that underfloor section for his cables. That then just pops back in pretty easily, clips down, and it's not going to rattle around at all because you can't actually pull it up from the front because it has actually got a little bit of plastic going into those sections. So just up and out to get your cable, back in, click down, and it's in. So yeah, quite happy with the functionality of that. Because of that, we haven't had to make this box removable, so that's bolted in from the back into a bracket behind the carpet section. So like I said, that's the 10-inch Hertz MPS 250 S2. So S2, it's a 2 ohm subwoofer. So from that match amplifier, which is actually, I don't know if you can see it, hidden under just down there. Let me get the camera. Yeah, you can just see it on that footage actually. So the match amplifier is down here. The up 6 is sitting behind that, running the whole system. And so the 2 ohm configuration, that's pulling about 600 watts. Obviously we're not running the amp absolutely flat out because the sub's rated for about 500 watts. So it gives a nice bit of headroom. Sounds fantastic, adds all that decent low bottom end bass that you need from a system like this. In the car, once again, there's nothing really to see other than the controller, which we put in the same place as we did the M3. Brilliant little position for it, really. It's just gone to sleep there because the car's just kind of woken up briefly as I got into it, and then it's gone to sleep again. But basically when you press start, the amplifier wakes up, the lights come around, falls nicely to hand with your arm on the armrest, but it doesn't stop you being able to get to the iDrive controller. We've got the tweeter grills in here, and the Morels are hidden behind the normal door speakers, but otherwise there's absolutely nothing to see and no change in how you use the car. So whether it's a wired connection to the CarPlay or a wireless connection, all your steering wheel controls still work. The master volume is still set via the head unit. This is just for sub-level control when it's orange. You press it once and it turns yellow. That gives you your rear attenuation. Press it again. In this configuration we've got some bass control when it's purple, so you can reduce and control the mid bass, and then you press and hold, it turns yellow. That gives you some control over the treble, if you want any control at all, although we've set it up pretty well. And then you press it and you get to your profiles. So we've got 3 profiles, like I said, driver, front passenger, both of those with subwoofer, and then the third one, and you press and hold to just activate that. The third one is an all cabin, but with no subwoofers. And then if you want to put the profiles back, you just go back to the profile page, press and hold for a second, and then it puts back to the first profile. That is it, short and sweet on this one. So decent upgrade, massively better than what was in there as standard. The base system in these is pretty rubbish. So if you've got any kind of BMW that hasn't got the Hi-Fi or the Harman Kardon or the Bowers & Wilkins, even if you have got the Hi-Fi, the Hi-Fi isn't that much better than this. Yes, you get 8-inch speakers from BMW, but the amplifier is still pretty crummy from the factory. It's still massively worth an upgrade. The Harman Kardon system, depending on what level of audiophile you are, it's okay as a factory system, but we've obviously still taken them out and improved upon it, like in that G81. And you can't actually get Bowers & Wilkins in this platform, I don't think. I think that's 5 Series and up. The Bowers & Wilkins, again, not bad, but there's still areas that can be improved upon, especially in terms of the equalization and the time alignment. If not, maybe having to change the speakers in those, they could just be re-amplified. But yeah, if you've got any BMW and you're interested in a system that sounds miles better than the standard system, give us a shout. And we'll have a package that I'm sure will suit your needs, or we can tailor something very slightly to fit in with what you want. Thanks for watching. It's still daylight. I'm going to drive home, and we'll see you in the next video.